Welcome to another episode of Three's a Crowd. Eli's back from Wisconsin. I'm Preston Vargas. Eli Atwood joins us here. And Eli, some great NFL action today. We'll start with the Packers and Cowboys. Played a thriller at Jerry's World. Ended up tying 40-40. What'd you make of the game?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great game. It's a sham that it ends up with a tie, you know. I think that's really the only bad part about it. It was a great game. A real offensive game, though. The defenses both looked really weak on both teams, I'd say.
Especially when you have Micah Parsons on one side, and you can't allow 40 points to the Cowboys if you're the Packers.
Yeah, the Packers secondary looked awful. I feel like every play Dak was thrown to a wide open receiver.
We talked about before the game that this would be a big game for Micah Parsons, but he only had one sack in the game. That came in overtime. Although it was a game changing sack. If he didn't make that sack, Dak Prescott was definitely running into the end zone.
Yeah, for sure. It was well timed at least, but still, he didn't do quite as much as we would have thought.
And then Jordan Love, he didn't have the best game. I mean, still scored 40 points, but
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he played pretty well, all things considered.
definitely a big gunslinging game for sure.
Yeah. I really don't think you could blame this tie on either team's offense, you know. This
No.
was horrible defense lost this game.
And last week, CeeDee Lamb got hurt, and then in comes George Pickens, really stepping it up for the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, Pickens, all their receivers really were at least contributing, you know.
Yeah. And with both quarterbacks throwing for over 300 yards, I mean, we'll have to see the team total for yards. I imagine it's a lot.
Yeah, definitely the Packers with their run game too.
I know Josh Jacobs briefly left the game and then later returned,
Yeah, I think he had a cut on his leg. Had to get that stitched up.
but still scored two touchdowns in a tie for the Packers. Although this should have been a loss for the Packers because at the end of the sequence, Matt LaFleur kind of pulled a Matt Eberflus in a way.
Yeah, nearly lost the game. I mean, 1 second away from losing there.
Quite honestly, that ball had flew another way, got tipped. That game's over, and the Packers lose in overtime.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the type of situation where you need to spike the football.
You didn't have any timeouts.
Yeah.
You didn't know what you were doing.
Or at least, I mean, it'd be one thing if they got to the line a little quicker, but with 9 seconds, it's not going to cut it.
Yeah,
I think
for
it may
sure.
have even been less than that.
We move on to the game in the 1 o'clock window. The Eagles beating the Bucks 31-25. A bunch of trickeration in that game. Jalen Hurts. I saw a stat where he didn't complete a single pass in the second half. And then after the game, AJ Brown had a post on X that he posted a Bible verse saying that if you don't make a scene for confrontation. And what does this mean for AJ Brown? He hasn't been doing as well this season.
I mean, I think he's frustrated and rightfully so. It's not like he's not playing well. It's just their team is not throwing the football. And when they do,
Exactly.
they're throwing short dump offs to, quick passes to the backs and to tight ends. It's just not what you like to see.
I mean, looking at this, AJ Brown was targeted 9 times in the game. Do you know how many catches he had?
Probably few out of the nine,
Two.
too. Yeah.
2 for 9 on
Well,
targets.
that is improved compared to how he's been doing. So at least he's getting the targets. So I'm not sure he can really complain too much. But then again, targets doesn't mean it's a catchable football either.
But still, I think there was a sequence where he was targeted 3 times in a row. And he didn't get it. He didn't catch anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's on him or the quarterback. But speaking of Jalen Hurts, I think he had 62 rushing yards, 130 passing yards. Still two passing touchdowns, which I believe were his first passing touchdowns of the week of the year.
Definitely doesn't have many.
I know going into the Rams game, he was the only quarterback without a passing touchdown. Oh no, he had three passing touchdowns against the Rams last week. So,
Okay, yeah.
but he's not a gunslinging quarterback. He's a good dual threat quarterback.
Yeah,
But but at least you're 4-0.
true. You can't complain too much when you're 4-0.
Then toward the end of that game, Baker Mayfield trying to get the Bucks back into the game. He played pretty well, 289 yards, two touchdowns, especially those big pass plays to Bucky Irving and Emeka Ibuka. And the How do you think the Bucks are going to look the down the stretch?
Yeah, I mean the Bucks have looked pretty good. They win in the crucial situations usually. I mean, they didn't quite pull it off this week, but they're usually at least there. But I think they need to start getting some earlier leads in order to have a little bit more consistent success.
I mean, for sure, Ibuka has become a important target for Baker Mayfield, especially since Mike Evans he's out for the next couple weeks with a hamstring injury.
Yeah.
On the Bucks schedule, they got Seattle on the road, then they come back to play San Francisco, which now looks like a very winnable game for them.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the Eagles, they play the Broncos at home, then the Giants at Minnesota, then back to the Giants. When does the when does the first loss come for the Eagles?
I mean, I think the next few teams they're playing are all games they should win, but teams that could still beat them at the same time.
Exactly.
So I would guess we see a loss somewhere within those teams, at least one.
I mean, I would say probably you could theoretically argue against the Giants on Thursday Night Football away from
Yeah.
home, which would be an unexpected loss, but still, I think you could easily see this team go like 10-0 when they play the Packers.
Yeah, it's possible. I would say.
But the Eagles are still good. We'll go to a team that's not good. The Baltimore Ravens getting boat raced 37-20 against the Kansas
Yeah.
City Chiefs. And in that game, Lamar Jackson left the game, I think early in the fourth quarter or late in the third quarter with a hamstring
Yeah, I think it was
injury.
like the very end of the third. Yeah.
How would this injury impact the Ravens going forward? I mean, they're 1-3. It's not going to get that much easier.
Yeah, it's seeming like an unexpectedly bad season here for the Ravens so far. Their defense hasn't looked good. Now you cut off Lamar, your offense isn't that good as it is, especially without your MVP quarterback. It's going to be tough.
Outside the Browns win, where they allowed 17, here's the number of points they allowed. In week one to Buffalo, 41. Week two to Detroit at home, 38. Kansas City, 37.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't keep up with the top teams. You're not a top team. I think that's simple.
And they have three straight home games coming up. They got the Texans, Rams, and Bears coming up with a bye week sandwiched in between. So they're not on the road until the day before Halloween, October 30th.
Yeah, I mean that'll at least help them out a little bit here the next few games. We'll see what happens though.
I mean, we'll see. They should beat the Texans. The Rams game's going to be a good one. Probably the marquee game at 1 o'clock that day. And then the Chicago Bears look pretty good. We'll get into that game in the next segment that they won. But I think if Cooper Rush can steer the ship against the Texans, we don't know how long Lamar is going to be out, but you can't with these soft tissue injuries, you can't rush him back.
Yeah, for sure. You don't want them to get hurt further.
And we saw this, I think it was toward the end of the 2022 season, where he missed the last 6 weeks of the season where we thought it was only going to be a 3 week injury with his knee. Ended up missing the
Yeah.
rest of the regular season and playoffs, which I think
Yeah,
they
so we'll
bounced in the
see.
first round. So Lamar, he is a top tier quarterback. That's no question when he's healthy, but it's not like he's been injured a lot lately.
Yeah.
And then on the other side for Kansas City, they avoided the 1-2, the 1-3 trap. Ended up getting to 500 before going on the road to play Jacksonville on Monday Night Football a week from today. They got a pretty difficult schedule the next couple games. Like I said, at Jacksonville, which is now looking like a harder game than it was going to be the past, if you were talking about earlier this month. They got Detroit at home, Sunday Night Football. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs, I think they're turning around right at the right time.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is the latest they should be trying to turn it around, you know.
Especially when the Los Angeles Chargers lost this past week to the Giants, which Chargers should have beaten the Giants. We'll get to that game later on as well. But if you're a Chiefs fan, I'm looking at tonight's game between the Bengals and Browns. Not the Browns, the Broncos. Bengals and
Yeah,
Broncos
for
Monday Night
sure.
Football. If the Broncos start off 1-3, that's going to be an advantage to you for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It's a pretty big advantage even.
They don't even play the Broncos until mid-November. So you got time before you play them, and then the Chargers, you don't play them until December. So if you can win outside of your division, their next division game comes against the Raiders at home, which is very winnable game, although they always seem to struggle against the Raiders for some reason.
Yeah, that's true.
And then we'll go into the Raiders. Speaking of them, they played the Bears yesterday in sunny Las Vegas, Nevada. Daniel Carlson lines up for that game-winning field goal, and guess who's there? Josh Blackwell there to block the kick, sealing the Bears win, 25-24. Caleb played okay. He turned it around when you need it the most.
Yeah, for
What
sure.
what does this win mean for the team as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, this proves that this team can win in the clutch moments, you know, something we've failed to see from the Bears in recent years. So I think
Sure.
that's just pretty important on its own.
All those disappointing close losses with Matt Eberflus, it's good to be on the other side of one of those for once.
Yeah.
And then DeAndre Swift going into the end zone, scoring that go-ahead touchdown with 134 to go. Some thought it was a little too early. I thought it was, but Ben Johnson outdueled the Super Bowl champion coach. That's huge.
Yeah, that's true. Huge win there.
We can go into our bye week at 2-2 before we play the Washington Commanders, which now looks like a very winnable game in 14 days from now.
Yeah, I agree. Very winnable. Commanders have not looked too hot to start the year.
No, they haven't. And when they play at Washington, they're going to want to avenge what happened last year. I'm looking at
Yeah.
Tyreek Stevenson to have a monster game, make up for his role in what happened.
Yeah, he needs to.
I think this is a chance for Caleb Williams to get one on Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, for sure. Prove everybody wrong.
Then,
Everybody talks about Jaden Daniels should have been that first pick.
and speaking of that, of the first round quarterbacks in the 2024 draft, so far Caleb Williams has looked like the best one, at least this year. I mean, you had Bo Nix dropping off a little bit, even though they lost a couple close games, but Bo Nix hasn't led them to. to a win that much. And then Michael Penix obviously gets benched in the Carolina loss. And then we have
Yeah,
JJ McCarthy. He turned it up against the Bears in week one, but then obviously didn't look good against Atlanta week two, and then got hurt. So there's still time to see about him. And then Drake May, he played a good game yesterday, but he's been
he's
on and
still,
off.
yeah, he's still got to get the consistency down a little bit.
And then Jane Daniels, he's okay, but then got hurt. We'll see what happens when he comes back.
Yeah,
And then moving on to the Giants win over the Chargers yesterday. Jackson Dart, his first NFL start, played pretty well. He had let me get the stats up here for this game. I know he played good, got the win. 111 yards, but he still had 54 rushing yards. So good dual threat quarterback there. He had a touchdown pass, but that wasn't the main story of the game. Main story is what happened with Malik Neighbors. We just got confirmation a couple hours ago that he is now done for the season with a torn ACL. I mean, on his Jackson Dart's debut, how does this impact the team for the rest of the season?
yeah, it's definitely a huge loss. I mean, Neighbors is easily probably the best player on their team, honestly.
Yeah, for
Losing him's
sure.
not good. And especially, I think it just calls out to that turf on that field. They have to get that situated. Too many injuries there.
I just saw a tweet from Odell Beckham Jr. that he's begging the NFL to please get rid of the artificial turf or have it at the best quality possible so this doesn't happen.
Yeah, well, I feel like especially MetLife, for whatever reason, seems to be the worst of them all.
I don't know what's up with that field. I mean, they should just tear it up and put grass there.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. It's an outdoor field, so it's not like it, theoretically, I don't think it would be that hard. I don't know.
I think the reason why it's turf is because the Giants and Jets both play there, so they wanted to make it easier to transition the field to whichever
Yeah,
team's playing. But you gotta you gotta have higher quality turf in the NFL, and there are ways
yeah,
to
for
do it these
sure.
days. It's not like the 80s when they played on concrete carpets.
Yeah,
I mean, today I think they have rubber pellets in the ground,
yeah,
but you still have to do something about that field.
yeah. I mean, it's not enough, for sure.
But for the Giants, I think this year is I'm not going to say it's a mulligan for anyone's job because Dayball should have been fired a year ago, but it's a mulligan for Jackson Dart, I think, to get his feet wet in the NFL. I mean, he didn't play bad, didn't turn the ball over, but especially against the Chargers defense, I don't know if he took any sacks. Oh yeah, 5 sacks. 5 sacks in that game. So there's going to be bumps and bruises for him. The sacks is one thing, Malik Neighbors the other bump, but I think once he comes back next year, Jackson Dart should be fine.
Yeah, I agree.
And then moving on to baseball, NFL football wasn't the only thing on. Game 162, every team playing their final regular season game of the season. Some notable scores. The Blue Jays sealed the AL East title and the number one seed in the American League, beating the Tampa Bay Rays 13 to 4. And the Yankees, even though they won, Blue Jays got the tiebreaker. AL Central race. Guardians won the AL Central, completing the Tigers' 15 game collapse when they led, I think, toward the end of July, with the Tigers' 4-3 loss to the Red Sox. And then the Reds sealed the final wild card spot with the Mets' 4-0 loss at the Miami Marlins. And the postseason bracket is set We have starting on Tuesday the Guardians and Tigers playing a three-game series. Then we have the Padres and Cubs in the other wild card series. Red Sox Yankees big rivalry in the other one. Then finally the Reds and Dodgers in a three-game series. What do you think of the postseason picture? How do you think it's going to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could go any number of ways. You got a lot of good teams this year. Interesting to see what happens there.
The Brewers, the best team in baseball so far. The Phillies are the title favorites. Then the American League, the Mariners getting a winning the AL West. I think for the first time in a while. I know they made the playoffs a couple of years ago, but the Mariners are someone to watch. Cal Raleigh with 60 regular season home runs. They got the Toronto Blue Jays. It should be a good one. And
Yeah, for sure.
with that, let's make our picks live on the air for our bracket challenge, which you can play. We'll put the link down in the description below. So let's do it. We'll start off with the first series, the Tigers and Guardians. Who you got winning that series?
I think for me, I'm going to go with the upset here and take the Tigers. I'm
Oh,
not too sure why. I've just got a feeling about it.
and the Tigers did collapse at the end of the season, but they are so much more talented than the Cleveland Guardians, in my opinion. You got Riley Green, Javi Baez, Tarek Skubal. I don't know if he's pitching in the series. He might be, but if he is, I'm taking the Detroit Tigers. Other one in the American League, the Red Sox and Yankees. Big rivalry in baseball. Who you got there?
Yeah, big rivalry here, but I'm going to take the Yankees
Yeah, I like the Yankees too. Aaron Judge, he's going to be the X factor in the playoffs this year.
for sure.
Moving on to the National League, we'll start with the Reds and Dodgers. What you got there?
Taking the Dodgers here, strong roster, like what we see.
That almost billion-dollar payroll, I think is
Yeah.
going to go through the Reds. They've been the favorites for the postseason all season. They're playing the wild card. But I'm going to take the Dodgers. Then the Padres and Cubs from Wrigley Field. Who you got there?
I think here I'm going to go with the Padres.
Oh wow. I think I'm going to go with the Cubs. That crowd's going to be electric. As we know, Chicago sports fans, some of the
That's
best in the
true.
world. That brings us to the division series. One matchup, I have the Mariners and Tigers. I think you picked the same.
Yeah, I took the Mariners there.
I can't pick against Cal Raleigh and Logan Gilbert. Logan Gilbert went to Wekiva High School in Apopka.
Yeah.
He also goes to my cousin's church in the off season. I'm picking the Mariners.
All right.
Another AL East rivalry, the Yankees playing the Blue Jays. What you got there?
I'm going to take the Blue Jays here.
Even though I have a relative that plays for the Blue Jays, they've been pretty good all season. But the Yankees, they the Blue Jays only won the division by a tiebreaker. If they had the old game 163, it could go a little different. But I think in a 5-game series, I'm taking the New York Yankees.
All right.
Then the National League, probably the best uh, postseason series. This should arguably could be an NLCS. Dodgers and Phillies. Who you got here?
The Phillies are the favorite. They've been looking good, but I still like the Dodgers. It's so much talent on that team.
So much talent for sure. I think this one I gotta go with the whoever's hotter. And the Dodgers, last 10 games, they're 8-2. The Phillies, 5-5. I'm gonna take the Dodgers in 5 games. And then I have the Cubs and Brewers. I think you picked the Padres
Yep.
in that series. Who do you have here?
taking the Brewers here, they've been the best team in baseball so far through the regular season. It's my pick.
Yeah, best team in baseball throughout the regular season. The Cubs, they only made the playoffs for the first time in 5 years, but and Brewers have been consistent and they want to get one up on Craig Counsell. I'm taking the Brewers. Then the ALCS, I have the Mariners and Yankees. You pick the Blue Jays, right?
Yep. Got the Mariners and Blue Jays.
So who you got going to the World Series out of the American League?
I'm going to take the Blue Jays. I think they
Oh,
just
wow.
run the sweep all the way through.
So they would make the World Series for the first time since 1993. For me, I'm gonna take a team that is good, that would win their first pennant ever, the Seattle Mariners, going to the
Mm.
World Series for the first time in their history. And
Yeah,
then
definitely two teams you don't see there too often.
the Dodgers and Brewers. Who you got here?
I'm continuing on. I'm taking the Dodgers.
The Dodgers. I think this is a series that will definitely go to seven. And I think it'll come down to pitching. And I like the Dodgers pitching more with that whole starting pitching for the Dodgers. Give me the Dodgers. And then the World Series, we got the Dodgers and Mariners on my end. I think you picked the Blue Jays and Dodgers. Who's winning the World Series?
I'm taking the Dodgers all the way through. World Series winners over the Blue Jays.
Back-to-back champions. I think this will be a good World Series. You got on one side you have Cal Raleigh in the Mariners, Shohei Ohtani in the Dodgers. It's going to be a great World Series all around. I think it will go to seven, and I think the Dodger or who would have the home field advantage because they don't do the All-Star game anymore. It would be the Dodgers to have home field advantage. This is a tough pick, but I'm going to go with the Dodgers to win the World Series
There we go. Both got the same pick.
by the skin of their teeth. And don't forget, you guys watching can pick in our group, the Three's a Crowd uh pick'em group. We'll put a link to that in the description. That's going to do it for us today. We'll see you again on Friday. I'm Preston Vargas alongside Eli Atwood. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.